and welcome to The Red Menace, where a comedy news podcast bringing you the latest and greatest hits from across
the world.
The world. There we go, thank you. I'm very excited to announce that today we have a special guest, a young woman by the name of Sophie Bohlsen, my younger sister.
Wow, what an exotic guest to have on today.
I know. So we did not intend for Sophie to be a guest today, but to put it frankly, Jetstar fucked us. And, well, no.
The wind.
The wind fucked Jetstar, who then fucked us. Apparently planes can't fly in the wind, which seems like a design flaw. But
well, you know you're in Sydney, and nothing in Sydney works anytime this weather. That's basically the way Sydney functions.
Yeah, it rained the other day and the trains were 2 hours late. It was typical.
I mean, that sounds about right.
So we're just hanging out, having some good sibling quality time.
Yeah.
We're going to bake some cakes.
We're going to bake some cakes.
What kind of cakes?
Lemon.
Lemon.
Exciting.
You sound so impressed.
We got yellow food colouring and everything.
Okay. That's going to be fun. Yellow food colouring.
Yeah.
So, Sophie, you've listened to the podcast at some point, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So you know the format?
So, you understand the basic idea of what we do?
You read articles and chat about them.
Okay.
Is this weird for you, being behind the music like this? Is it weird hanging out with two people as very famous and successful as we are?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Super weird.
Pretty intimidating.
Yeah, it's like I'm in a real podcast.
It's almost like this is a real podcast.
Yeah.
Do you want to just get into it, Alison? Do you have a story to start us off?
Should I start off with one from my end of the world? From Indonesia, actually.
Okay.
But it's still our kind of speed,
Nice.
And this is from the Jakarta Post, which we know is probably, only has the greatest interns there. Because, I did an internship there, so clearly they only have the greatest interns there.
That was the most loaded pause I've ever heard. It was beautiful.
I was just making it clear as to why the interns are so good.
I got it, but Sophie looked a bit confused.
Yeah,
so
I didn't know.
Just clarifying for our listeners who aren't as clued in to my everyday life as you
doesn't just get this fucking constant tweet stream that you send me about what you're doing.
Well,
yeah.
I'm not about what I'm doing right now.
Not that I don't appreciate the tweet stream, Alison. I'm glad we're friends.
See, the tweet stream, in fact, this was last year I was an intern there. This year I'm doing something different. But the tweet stream is usually just links to bad tweets, which is quite funny.
Yes. Most tweets are bad tweets. It's weird how that works.
That's kind of the lay of the land. But this is an article from the Jakarta Post, which is just from the unnamed news desk. And so the headline goes, "Mystery as crocodile lands on roof of Malang house."
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that seems normal.
Yeah, so how does a crocodile get on a roof is a question that I wanted to be answered by this article and was not.
So I have a few immediate questions.
Sure.
So the first one is, presumably crocodile falls from sky.
Yeah, I would guess so.
Or it's flood.
Or flood, but I'll just hear me out. So that means that there are two possible speeds crocodile falls at, either parachute speed or gravity speed, which has two very different results.
Well, the crocodile is alive. He looks very happy just to be chilling out on the roof.
Presumably parachute speed then, because if it was gravity speed, crocodile would be in lots of different places.
But maybe crocodiles can survive gravity. Maybe they're immune to gravity. We haven't tested this theory.
They are reptiles.
Crocodiles don't take fall damage, is what you're saying.
Exactly. Exactly. But there wasn't really an answer to this mystery, which was quite disappointing to my, need to know.
Okay.
My curiosity. But there is a photo, quite grainy photo of, indeed, a crocodile chilling on a roof.
Okay, when we say quite grainy, are we talking some 16 millimeter moon landing shit?
Someone's taken it on a Nokia phone is probably the...
Oh, hell yeah.
A Nokia phone in the dark.
But you can still quite it's a real crocodile?
Well,
is it a plush crocodile or someone in a crocodile suit?
Well, now you think of it, it's definitely a guy in a crocodile suit.
Is it a morph suit with some scales painted on the back?
And, like, to make the snout, they've just got, like, 2 egg cartons, like, sticky tape to the front of the morph suit. I think it's a real crocodile. So let's get into the story.
Okay.
It says, Kurung Kandang police in Malang, East Java, are looking for the owner of a crocodile that was found on the roof of a house. So, firstly, I like how they immediately assumed this crocodile was owned by somebody.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there wouldn't be wild crocodiles around there, Alison.
No,
Don't
there wouldn't be
ridiculous.
wild crocodiles falling down on people's roofs. You know, it
It's
has
just
to
like
be
in a-
someone's crocodile.
It's just like here, how every crocodile is owned by somebody.
Yeah, every crocodile
The
is owned by
Owens.
Queen Elizabeth. That's the way.
Well, I
it
thought they were
works.
all owned by Bindi Owen, but
Well, Bindi
Whichever
Owen is
works.
the queen, really.
wasn't Bindi Owen in a Free Willy movie back in the day?
She was.
Really?
Like the third one. Yeah.
But, sorry, there's
Did you
3
ever watch
Free
this
Willy
movie, Sophie?
movies.
I've seen all the Free Willy movies.
But
So
what
did you, like-
how does the plot continue after Willy is free? Because I would assume that's the end of the story.
Yeah, there's some like sequels. Like they find another orca and then.
So it's not the same Willy.
Well,
Is
So
it
it's
would
like
be.
free Bob. Free
it
Jenny.
might have been called Willy though. Maybe I think it's just another orca and they call it Willy. I could
So
be wrong.
every time Bindi Owen meets a whale, she names it Willy.
No, well, she had to. She had to help it escape from this like water park. That was her plot.
Isn't that
maybe.
the plot of Free Willy 1?
Yeah, so is this a remake of Free Willy starring Bindi Owen?
Well, yes, it is the plot.
I would guess they
It's
probably all
somewhat
have the same
different.
plot.
Yeah, I think they might.
They all encompass freeing an orca from a water park.
Yeah,
But there's different challenges along the way.
Yeah, sometimes they have to do a dance-off. Sometimes they have to go skydiving.
Yeah.
Sometimes Bindi Owen has to fight, like, Arnold Schwarzenegger or something like that. There's a lot of different...
Sometimes it becomes a bit like Pinocchio and the orca eats everybody and then they need to free themselves from the belly of Willy, so that's a little bit of a change.
That should be the sequel, is Freed from Willy.
Free, and then in little brackets, from Willy. So the story continues. The householder, Junadi, told the police that he thought he heard something fall on his roof, and he found out later it was actually a saltwater crocodile. Part of the roof was damaged, Kidung Kandang Police Chief Commodore Suko Wayudi said, quoted by Tribune News on Wednesday. Equipped by a rope, it took about 30 minutes for police and neighbours to catch the 170-centimetre crocodile.
So that's like...
That's
That's not that big. That's
Yeah,
like...
it's a small
170
crocodile.
centimeters.
That's smaller than me.
It's
So,
a little
like,
boy. It's a little boy.
I could wrestle that
That's a
crocodile.
baby crocodile.
Yeah.
But it's cute.
So
you
maybe
know?
someone just threw it up in the air, and that's how it
You
landed.
probably-
I'll be honest though, any size crocodile is too big to be on the roof of a house. Because it's not the ideal circumstance for them to live in.
Sophie's face says she disagrees.
Well, you can get really little crocodiles.
But you want that on the roof? I would want a little crocodile, a little baby
It's better
crocodile,
than the
maybe.
floor.
Alison, if the crocodile wants to hang out somewhere, you should let it. Don't judge
Let
this
it be on the
crocodile for
roof.
what it likes.
It probably thought the roof was warm.
That's true, actually. That'd be the sunniest spot, is the
It would
roof.
be a
That
good
does make
place for them
sense.
to bask, but I'm not sure, like, how would it get down? Can crocodiles...
You know how you see videos on, like, Instagram of, like, a dog and a cat who are friends? Mm-hmm. And they'll be, like, hanging out in the backyard. I want to see a cat and a crocodile just chilling on the roof of a house together, just, like, hanging out as buddies.
Sure. I mean, if it was going to happen anywhere, it would happen here. There's a lot of cats just hanging out on the street, so I would imagine there's probably about 6 cats in this photo just out of shot.
There's just always cats present.
Well, in Indonesia, except in Bali, Bali's like the land of dogs, but in everywhere else, in Java especially, there's just cats everywhere. So there would have to be cats there, just by logic of that.
Have you considered starting a cat-exclusive Instagram, just called Catstagram?
I was considering it. Because there are a lot of cats here.
No, I know, that's why I suggested it.
So if you would like to see that content, I can create that content. Just
I
for
would
you.
follow.
Like and subscribe.
Like and
Smash
subscribe.
that like button.
Guys, if you want to see that content, please leave a comment. Like, answer the poll down in the comments. Like and subscribe. If I get 20 followers on this, we will do a Catstagram.
Ding the bell to get notifications of when I put up new Catstagrams. It's going to be lit.
So I'm going to read the ending of this story because there's actually not too much more to it. So it says, it's unclear who owns the crocodile, which is a protected animal, or how exactly
God
it entered
owns the crocodile.
Well, the crocodile owns itself. He's a free man.
That's fucking true. No one has to... We outlawed slavery a long time ago, so I
Yeah.
don't think this crocodile's owned by anybody.
Look, if the cats in this country can be free and just roam everywhere, so too can the crocodiles.
Yeah. My family doesn't own their cat. It just
Yes,
chooses
we
to live with them.
do.
No, he just lives in the house with them. He could leave if he wanted to. He just
Nah,
doesn't
he always
want to.
comes back.
Well, yeah, exactly. He's tried to leave several times. He just sort of gives up.
He's just like, they give me food.
Yeah, he gets bored and comes back.
But actually, it's
misses
kind of
us.
like, I was feeding some of the street cats outside the convenience store near my old place, and the same cats were always there, and I guess they just know that idiots give them food outside the convenience store because they feel sorry for them, and then they go into the convenience store and buy cat food to give to them.
Did you do that?
I did do that.
So you are one of these idiots.
And then, Chris, I saw about 4 other people do the same thing. I'm like, these cats have a good scare.
Yeah, that's a fucking good grift.
That's
those
a
cats have
really
running.
good grift. They're like, okay, now the humans can buy food from in there. If we sit there and meow at the door and look sad, the human will go in there and buy food for us and bring it out. And come to think of it, the cats are probably working with the convenience store owners.
They're
Do you think
probably
there's
their
like
cats.
a cat pimp that like tells them where to go and which convenience stores and who to target?
And then the pimp like negotiates with the convenience store owner and it's like, look, you got to sit
Exactly.
outside this one. I've got an arrangement with these guys, you know.
Okay, that's because the convenience store sells cat food, which is ridiculous that it does that.
The convenience stores here sell literally everything.
Yeah, so what I'm suggesting is that the convenience store was not originally selling enough cat food, so they got street cats to sit outside to motivate people to buy more cat food.
And tell you what, it's a very cute family, a mum cat and 2 baby cats that just sit there. They're very cute. And see, Chris, if you saw them all looking at you, the mum and the 2 babies, you too would walk in and buy cat food.
I would. I'd buy them some kibble or whatever it is that cats eat. That sounds
Yeah.
like something that... yeah, I get
Absolutely.
it.
So, if the cats can live that way, so too can the crocodiles. Next thing you know, there's going to be crocodiles sitting outside the convenience store doing sad eyes at you, waiting for you to go in and buy some
And
meat
just like
snacks for them.
terrified people throwing raw steaks at them from several meters away.
Yeah, exactly. It's
What
the
sort
next
of-
step.
you know how cats make like a sad meow noise? What kind of sad noise do crocodiles make?
Probably like...
Do crocodiles make any noise?
I feel like
Apart
they must
from like
make it.
chomping?
I think a crocodile just has it just sounds like a deep-voiced person. So a crocodile's just sitting outside the convenience store and just goes, food steak, please.
I'm hungry.
My favourite thing to eat is children.
Although I do like the concept of like a sad chomping noise. I don't know.
Is there any more to the story?
Well, there is one theory about how the crocodile got on the roof. It
Okay.
says the authorities believe that the crocodile may have fallen from a 2-story house next door.
Why the fuck was it inside a 2-story house?
That's the other question that is raised here from this solution. There's just more questions than answers in this story, but that's all there is to it.
That's
So,
wild.
mystery roof crocodiles. Only in Indonesia. And probably Australia. I could see that happening there too.
Okay, I have a story. Give me 1 sec to see who sent it to me because I forget. This is that good content. Alright, someone sent me this story and I don't remember who. So this is from the Sydney Morning Herald. And the headline is Racing officials suspect deadly sea snail venom used as a legal drug.
Okay.
A deadly venom found in sea snails, which can paralyze fish within a second, has emerged as the latest chemical suspected to have infiltrated horse racing, with authorities scrambling to organise testing for the powerful painkiller. Racing New South Wales and Racing Victoria integrity officials on Monday, that's a job.
Yeah, I don't feel like these guys are doing their job very well at all. I will be.
No, I want to know how you get into that industry, how you become an integrity official for Racing New South Wales.
I feel like they just pick a random guy on the street and be like, you be the integrity official, because I don't think they've got a lot of integrity.
So they've started screening for the mystery drug, which has subtypes known to be infinitely stronger than morphine, which is strong and all comes from a sea snail. So this can be extracted for the use of therapeutic purposes on humans in the form of conotoxin-based pre-alt.
I don't want anything that's come from a snail in my body. I'm going to be honest.
So
That's fair.
the thing about this article is that it doesn't explain how exactly the sea snail venom is used in horse racing drugging.
So
Or
there's
just put in
like,
the food.
do the horses just eat snails, or do the jockeys eat snails?
Well, here's what I'm thinking, is maybe instead of using it to, like, as a performance enhancer, maybe they use it to drug the other horses.
That's what I thought.
Maybe if it's like a.
So they sneak some
painkiller.
snails into the horse's oats.
To slow them down.
Exactly. So that
And the
horse
horse
has
is
a real
like,
sleepy day.
this is a strange oat I'm eating,
It's crunchy and squishy. This
Is
doesn't
it-
taste right.
but I'm going to continue eating these oats because I'm a horse and I eat oats.
I believe it. Oh no, it says that it is understood to dissolve from a horse's system very quickly and can help numb any pain before heading to the racetrack. Which I'd argue, if this was a humane setup, they wouldn't have any pain heading to the racetrack.
Well, Chris, I feel like the fact that the horses have pain heading to the racetrack and the integrity officials want the horses to continue having pain as they head to the racetrack is probably not very good for the integrity of the sport.
No, if you have to give your horses like morphine before they, if we had like an athlete who was doing the big run, doing the hurdles, and we had to like pump them full of morphine before every race because otherwise their shins were too fucked up, that person's in the wrong line of work.
Although I do feel like that's kind of a good idea. Maybe I could like get more into running if I didn't have such painful knees all the time. So I should hit myself up with some morphine before I go for a jog, and then maybe life would be better.
I'll sometimes have some Panadol if I'm about to watch a movie that I know will be loud.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I know it'll give me a headache and my body is terrible.
Did you have some Panadol before you watched iBoy last night?
No, I didn't. All right, well, this is a tangent that we're going on. So, on this podcast before, we've talked about the excellent
the
Netflix
smash hit
original
movie,
film, iBoy.
iBoy.
This
In
is
which he gets
available
a
on
phone
Netflix.
embedded into his head.
Yeah, so it stars Maisie Williams as Arya Stark, she's the head of all of the marketing, even though she's in the movie for maybe 20 minutes.
Sure.
Because she's more famous than the dude who's the lead.
Yeah, of course.
Who does get phone-based superpowers. And what you didn't impart to me when you told me about it, Alison, is how grim and serious this movie is.
Yeah, well, that's something that I should probably have imparted. But I think the fact that it's grim and serious makes it all the more ridiculous.
Like, the movie's core conceit is about, like, a sexual assault. And the movie
Yeah.
does not justify that
It does
at
not
all.
deserve having that as like the
No.
core of
It's-
the plot.
A phone superhero movie, sort of. And it has not earned that content. And it was very bad, and I hated it.
It was very badly like, yeah, I should have imparted to you that it was very dark and grim. But also I feel like, you know, you look at the phone superhero plotline and you're like, this looks like a fun romp. And then there's sexual assault in it right at the very beginning.
Yeah, and it's just
you're
a
like,
fucking
that was not a
funeral
fun
march
romp.
of a movie. No, it's not a fun romp at all. And then it's just a boy, like, killing gangsters for a movie.
And there's no
With a phone
repercussions.
embedded in his head.
No, there's no repercussions at all. He just does it.
Like, the police don't turn up at all.
Maybe it's a scathing indictment of the UK's criminal justice system.
Well,
Maybe it's talking about how, like, if you live in the projects, you've got to deal with the...
They called the police a few times, though. I just think they didn't do anything.
maybe they just couldn't afford actors to play the police.
There is one
And they
scene...
couldn't afford the uniform hire.
There's one scene where he plants some cocaine on all of these different gangsters and then they all get arrested. But what it is he plants one little baggie of cocaine on like each of them, and each of them get like a SWAT team coming to their house to arrest them for having one baggie of cocaine.
Is that how
Which-
it works?
Just based on the number of people I've seen in Sydney with more cocaine than that, no, it's not. So, like, and also... Because the English police can't carry guns, what it is like 20 cops with bats and one cop with a gun. So they're only allowed one per SWAT team, which I think is good. I think that's how
Yeah, I
it
think
should
that's
go.
fair enough. Do they wear like the ridiculous hats, the tall pointy ones?
Oh, you mean
No.
like the First World War German hats? Or
No,
like, what are we
no,
talking
like
here?
the old school police hats.
No, I think they were just wearing like normal police hats. No
Okay.
helmets, because
They had shields.
they did have big shields, big
Wow.
plastic shields.
Now, everything
And
I
one
know
gun.
about the British police, I would say I've probably learnt from watching The Bill as a child and Hot
Same.
Fuzz. That's the
Yes.
two police know-hows about British police.
I think Hot Fuzz is the more realistic depiction of the British police.
Then The Bill.
Sophie, have you seen Hot Fuzz?
No.
You should
Oh,
watch
you've
Hot
got
Fuzz.
to
it's
watch
great.
Hot Fuzz. It's a great movie. Have you seen The Bill?
No.
You don't
Oh my
have to
God,
watch
Sophie,
that.
You haven't lived. She's Sophie's a couple years younger than me, so she's not technically a millennial. She's a
Oh,
Z.
right.
Well, I'm 98, so
yeah,
what
so
does
you're a
that
Gen.
mean?
You're a Gen Zer.
You're the same year as my other sister.
Ah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. All right. Well.
yeah.
Is there any more
Sophie's
to
a lot
this?
stronger than your sister, like physically.
Which sister?
I was gonna Annie. I was gonna
Any
introduce.
of the sisters.
I was gonna introduce Sophie as the strong, silent type, but I mean that like she's physically strong and physically quiet, as opposed to like emotionally.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah, she has big muscles. She does lots of weights and things. I don't. She can beat me in an arm wrestle very, very, very easily. There's not much more content to my story because we got off on an iBoy tangent.
We did go off on an iBoy tangent,
Which
but
is
it was a
really
pretty
what
good
I was
tangent.
hoping for there.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
Do you have another one?
Let me just have a look at what else I've got here.
I haven't done as much preparation this week, and by I mean Marianne. So,
Marianne, come on, up your game, Marianne. How can I make this podcast about you?
my friend Hannah, after listening to last week's, angrily texted me to tell me that Marianne's cupcake place is called the Cupcake Coop, and that I should be promoting it more on the show because she does all my work for me.
Okay, the
Which is
cupcake
Coop or co-op or something.
Co-op. Probably
I'll find it
co-op,
on
I would-
Instagram.
The cupcake co-op, I would guess, but coop sounds good to me.
Cupcake. Instagram's not working.
Okay, well that's shameful.
That's
Yeah.
sad.
Do we want another like reptile story?
Yeah, let's go all reptiles. Oops, all
All
reptiles.
reptiles. This is a reptile special. But this is actually one from America, flying over to the United States. And this is from the NPR, which I do like as
interesting.
a news outlet. But this has just got a lot of things that I find are quite amusing in it. And it is an alligator story because we're in America. We're not in
Okay,
the
so
land of
this is
crocodilian.
Very similar to our previous reptiles.
Well, it is a story of like large predatory reptiles in places they probably shouldn't be, ideally. But it also is a story of a guy whose name is Alligator Bob, which I feel like
That's extremely good.
that's an extremely American name, I think. In Australia, he'd be called like
Alligator Bob.
Crocodile Joe or something, you know.
Crocodile Chris. I like Crocodile
Crocodile
Chris a lot. It needs to
Chris
have
sounds a little
alliteration.
bit too like, yeah, but I feel like Alligator Bob doesn't have alliteration.
No,
Crocodile
so I think
Chris sounds a little bit too like a little bit too not
Fancy.
dealing with crocodiles. Yeah,
I think that Bob
Crocodile
needs
Bruce.
to Bob needs to become focused on an animal that starts with the letter B. I think that that's important for his career.
Baboon Bob.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
Baboon
what
Bob.
animal?
Baboon
Baboon
Bob is a good option.
Well, he might have to move somewhere else then. I don't think there's many baboons in Chicago.
Butterfly Bob. Bunyip Bob.
Bunyip.
Bumblebee Bob.
Yeah, that's one. Just regular
one.
Bebob.
Bebob. Hi, my
Bebob.
name's Bebob.
Hi, my name's Bebob. I like to sing bebop music and I capture
Yeah.
bees. Hi, I'm Bob.
Exactly. So this is from, as I said, NPR.
My favourite TV show is Cowboy Bebop. That's all the jokes I can think of.
Okay, let's dive into this story. This is by Amy Held, and it says, an alligator surfaces at Chicago Lagoon, and a city snaps to attention.
Oh, for
There we
fuck's
go. We got that pun in there. We should have used it at the end of the episode.
Damn it.
But I don't think we've done a pun at the end for a long time, so it's okay.
No, that would require work from me.
Yeah, there's
So
a lot
that's
of
an issue.
yeah, and there's a lot of references to Chicago in this. And personally, I've never been to Chicago. All I
No.
know about Chicago is the musical Chicago, so it may fly over my head a little bit. So if you're from Chicago and you're listening to this, excuse my ignorance.
I watched that movie one time 5 years ago and I was very sleepy, so I don't remember it super well.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of killing involved in that movie, but it's
Oh,
quite
hell
fun.
yeah, that's my favourite kind of fucking
A lot of
movie.
women killing men, but it's quite
Oh,
fun.
hell yeah.
It's
Sounds
quite fun.
great.
So, this is the story. It's the Cubs, Bulls, and Bears that usually get Chicagoans talking. I don't get it. But this week, the animal
I think that's a baseball team or a football team or something like
Well,
that.
I think the Chicago Bulls is a basketball
heard of
team.
that.
And now I know that because I used to play a basketball game on Nintendo 64 a lot.
Well, that's
when I
very
was-
on brand.
This is when I was quite young as well. And then we used to like change up the roster and you could like, actually there was no limits to the customization of the characters. So you could in fact make your character full height but also full speed and like the lowest weight possible. So they would just like fly across the court and be taller than the ring and just, yeah, and that was possible in the character
one
creation.
of my neighbours has just sort of staring at me and Sophie recording, looking very suspicious. She's done it again. At what we're doing. I've just locked
hello,
eyes with
neighbour.
her. She saw Sophie turning around.
I turned back and
She's gone inside. Sophie did that thing where you go like, look, don't
You
look.
should have promoted the podcast to her. Got her in as another
she saw
special
me.
guest. Chris's neighbour from out the front who was
I
staring at
don't
it.
think so. I think she got annoyed at my other neighbours one time because they were being too loud. Oh, well, let's continue. Sorry for rudely interrupting.
Yeah, let's continue. So, I forgot what I was saying. Okay, I was reading this story about the Chicago Bulls and talking about the Nintendo 64 Chicago Bulls.
Sophie's nodding affirmingly, saying,
Well,
yes,
thank you,
congratulations,
Sophie.
Alison, you got it right.
Thank you very much, Sophie.
You're welcome.
But that's all I know about the Chicago Bulls. But my brother did tell us, because he didn't want us to mess with the rosters inside the Nintendo 64 game. He told us if we changed the roster in the Nintendo 64 game, it would change the roster of the real NBA. So we had to like be very careful not to switch around the characters too much, because otherwise there might in fact be like a 10-foot tall like skeleton running up and down the pitch in the real NBA, which is not ideal.
That's why people need to be really careful when they play fantasy football, because it has real-life repercussions.
It's got real life consequences, exactly. So the Chicago Bulls does have a 10-foot tall skeleton on it now after I changed the character on.
So I've been playing Mario Tennis a lot recently, and the problem is that Roger Federer has recently been replaced by Mario in real life. And Mario does not look human
So
proportions.
which Mario Tennis are you playing?
Mario Tennis on the Nintendo Switch, because I own a new video game console,
Okay.
unlike your very
Because-
old video game console.
There was a Nintendo, I think it was for Game Boy Advance, the Mario Tennis game, that Mario didn't come until the very end, and for the rest of the game you're just playing as some kid in a tennis school, playing against other kids in a tennis school, and for some reason it's called Mario Tennis.
Tennis schools exist?
Yeah, and the whole thing is you live in a tennis boarding school, and like you can go and play other kids in the tennis boarding school, or you could go to the mess hall and eat food in the tennis boarding school. And this is a Mario game.
I would like to see a Harry Potter-esque story, but about a tennis school.
as
where-
opposed to
Yeah,
magic.
exactly.
Yeah, so but they treat tennis with the same level of reverence that they treat magic
Now-
in Harry Potter. So there's one person who's the chosen tennis one, and he
I feel like
defeated
this
the
probably
evil tennis
exists
Dark
in
Lord.
anime, Chris.
That's probably true,
I couldn't
actually.
name an anime, but it sounds like something that would exist in an anime.
I'd watch that. I want to watch the tennis Harry Potter anime.
I'm gonna Google tennis anime.
It'll be
Let's
called
see.
Rackets of Fire or Rackets of Love.
And then we're gonna go back to this alligator story, which we've gone really far away from.
Oh yeah, shit, I forgot about that.
Now my Google is being very slow. And nothing.
Just like life, am I right?
Yeah. Now I might have to use another device to use Google. I use my phone
no.
because I can connect to the 4G.
Oh.
Oh, hang on, it's come up. There is sorry. It's like top 5 best tennis animes of all time. I'm sorry.
What are some of them called?
I'm sorry. There's more than one tennis anime.
It sounds like there's many.
It sounds like if there's top 5 best tennis animes, then there is a lot of tennis animes if they've got enough to make a list.
Alison, can you just tell me what some of those top 5 tennis animes are, please?
Well, I'm stalling while the page loads.
Oh, right, that makes a lot of sense.
Okay, update our privacy policy. Okay, so there's one called Soft Tenny,
Oh, weird.
and there's one
Okay.
called TQ.
Okay,
There's one called Aim for the Ace.
that's better. I like that. Aim for
That's
the
very
ace.
cool. That sounds.
That could
like
also be like a cool like poker school. Or
Oh, this is
something
like
as
this is like a retro tennis anime. It was in 1973.
well. Ooh,
Whoa. There's another one called Baby Steps, which sounds a little bit lame,
don't get it
but it is based on a manga of the same name.
about
Oh,
tennis.
and then the number 1 tennis anime is called Prince of Tennis.
That's fucking good.
Yeah, it's boss.
Prince of Tennis.
It's arguably the most famous tennis anime to date, with the main manga running from 1999 to 2008.
You know what they did that was really smart that none of the other ones did? Was they put tennis in the name.
Yeah,
so
they
that you can
did.
know what it's about.
Now, Chris, let me just read you the plot summary of this, because you may have invented Prince of Tennis before. It's the story. The story follows Ryoma Echizen, a tennis prodigy that arrives at the school that is renowned for the players' prowess in the game. After gaining a place among their numbers, he and others strive to beat the national championships. The story adds drama to the matches, providing challenges for the characters in the process, and has a strong focus on their development as people. However, while it starts out fairly grounded in realism, some of the techniques practiced by the players later on bend the laws of physics and become exaggerated.
Like in season 2 when he turns Super Saiyan and then does the tennis from the sky or something like
Yeah,
that.
exactly. So basically, it is about a young boy who's very good at tennis, who goes to a tennis school, especially for tennis champions, to become the best tenniser.
That would be a really insufferable school. Do you want to continue with the crocodile story?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to go away from this tennis anime page because it's very distracting. There's a lot of like pictures and moving graphics from the Prince of Tennis. Where are we up to? Okay, so we only got to the second sentence.
Don't worry, I'll distract you again after the third one. It's okay.
Okay. The alligator. By the way, this is about an alligator in the pond at Chicago, as we have established in the first sentence.
Okay.
Yeah. But this week, the animal that has residents snapping to attention is a real-life alligator cruising through a lagoon in the city. The alligator, estimated to be between 4 and 5 foot long, was spotted Tuesday in the unlikely local of Humboldt Park on Sydney's west side. Surprised
think all-
parkgoers...
The alligator's also not very big. I'm disappointed by the
Yeah,
size
it's
of all
not
of these reptiles.
We're not getting some big reptiles today. I'm sorry about that. I should have brought in the
okay.
big guns.
Yeah.
But the people, upon seeing the alligator, called 911, and responding officers brought in animal control. I don't know if my first reaction upon seeing an alligator would be to call, like, the cops. This alligator's
don't know
just
what-
kind of chilling in the lake.
Everyone
He's not
knows
doing any
alligators-
crimes.
And also, alligators are bulletproof, so what are the cops going to do? They can't arrest it. They can't handcuff the alligator.
They're
It
like,
doesn't have
"Oi,
opposable thumbs. Handcuffs won't work on it.
trespassing." And so then they like wrestle the alligator to the ground and trying to put handcuffs on the alligator's like short little legs.
And whilst they're reading the alligator its rights, you have the right to remain silent. It's going, "Grrr."
Poor alligator. So anyway, we're going to go down. In the meantime, the city and the wider world of social media are having a field day with the urban lurker. Thousands of people voted in a nicknaming competition. Chance the Snapper was the winner.
Oh, that's
beating
quite
out
fun.
Ruth Gator Ginsburg and Croc Obama. The Croc Obama, does that even have a pun in it? It's very bad.
Also, Barack Obama's not from Chicago. I don't know why. Is Ruth Bader Ginsburg from Chicago? I know Chance the Rapper's from Chicago.
Well, Chance the Snapper, that's why he won, right?
Yeah, that makes
because
sense.
It's relevant and it's punny. But at least with Obama, they could have gone like Croc Obama to like make it somewhat of a pun, not just Croc Obama.
They could have gone Kanye Vest because the alligator's going to get turned into a vest later.
The poor boy.
Yeah.
Anyway, and a real-life neighbourhood alligator wrangler, clad head to toe in khaki, has swooped in to help. Known as Alligator Bob, he has been volunteering with the Chicago Herpetological Society for decades. But the group's president, Rich Crowley, told NPR in a phone interview. Oh, the group's interview, it doesn't say but. I just read that but in myself.
He just said, we don't know anything about this Bob guy. He just hangs out here and talks about alligators a lot. He was so excited the other day.
Now, just to be clear, Alligator Bob is not his real name. It says Alligator Bob has a day job and won't release his legal name in a bid to preserve his privacy. Who is this Alligator Bob? He's like an actual superhero.
It is Chance the Rapper. It is very famous and successful musician Chance the Rapper.
And when they decided to nickname the crocodile Chance the Snapper, he got very, very like on edge that someone had discovered him.
He was super worried. He was like, I have to put this alligator down. It
But in the
can't be
photos-
allowed to live.
In the photos, Alligator Bob is an old white guy, so I feel like it's a pretty good disguise.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like he's made a wax model of a white man that he then puts on over the top of his normal face, and then he raps at the alligator, and it's defeated by his rap
Yeah, exactly.
powers,
Exactly. And so
which
no,
also
he...
sounds like an anime.
Let's Google that. Rapping alligator anime.
I think
can't
this
Google
joke
it,
is going
it's
to
too
go
slow.
into the ground very quickly. I don't
It's
think
too-
this one doesn't have legs, Alison.
I'm leaving it there. And I can't Google it because my Google is so slow at the moment. Now, this is... Actually, the Herpetological Society president has also noted that the alligator is too small to be interesting. And he said, based on the alligator's smaller size, Crowley does not believe it would go after humans. People are nevertheless advised to keep out of the lagoon because the gator could attack if it feels threatened.
But it's important to remember that it's not the size of your alligator that matters. It's if you know how to use your alligator and know what to do with it. That's much more relevant.
Exactly.
Just don't judge an alligator based on its size is all I'm saying. Like, it doesn't... You shouldn't be... Don't judge a book by the size of its cover.
Yeah, it's just a special boy who wants to hang out in the river. Just like the special boy who wanted to hang out on the roof before. We should just let crocodilians hang out where they would like to hang out.
I think this is the start of a very specific apocalypse. So instead of Moses sending the swarm of locusts, he's sending the swarm of alligators. It's just happening
Like
over the course of a
alligators
while.
and crocodiles, just like, little bit by little bit, leaching them into environments that they probably ideally should not be.
But because that's why they're just appearing there. That's why it didn't fall from the sky. It just apparated onto the roof.
Yeah.
So I'm going to wake up one morning and there's just going to be one on my couch. Sophie is going to have transformed into an alligator, and then I'm going to have to put Sophie down, and it's going to be really tragic, and I'm going to be really sad.
Are you sure she hasn't already transformed into an alligator? Like, you've got no proof she hasn't.
She does exclusively eat meat, so...
Does
And
that
I'm
describe
very good at swimming.
Are you very good at swimming?
No, I'm terrible at
No,
swimming.
I was going to say, I don't think you are. I think that's true.
So was that some fake news in our legitimate news podcast that I just heard? Wow.
No one in our family is good at swimming. We're only
No.
good at
We
swimming.
swim like stones.
Yeah.
I feel like if you have like a ginger gene inside your family line, you're immediately not good at anything that involves like possibly going near the beach.
That is true. That's true. So that's just evolution's way of telling us.
Yeah, it's
not to.
evolution's
Yeah.
way of telling us that we're going to die
We're
of skin
too
cancer
pale.
if we step outside.
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Smart.
That's why none of the famous swimmers are rangers. Definitely not.
Is that true?
I don't
Let's
know.
Google it.
What colour's Ian Thorpe's hair? He's got brown hair,
He's
right?
got
I think
brown
it shows
hair.
like sandy brown blonde colour.
Redhead swimmer. You're just going to get some weird pictures if you Google that. It's
I'm
just
not
going to
Googling
be a bunch of ranger dudes in Speedos is what it's
And I
gonna
don't, I
Next
don't
to-
want to see that.
Next Olympics, keep an eye out for
Yeah.
some redhead swimmers.
be.
Yeah. They don't exist. Is basically what we're saying. And if you do, if you do see one, it's probably a false flag operation put in place after the FBI listened to this and figured out that we know what's happening.
It's probably like they've dyed their hair red like Archie from Riverdale because they just want to be special and different. But like Archie from Riverdale, it's a really shitty dye job and they haven't dyed his eyebrows.
Oh no! And it looks like dye red never looks like natural red.
No, it
And
doesn't.
whenever, you know, when people have dyed red hair and they like make jokes about how they're a redhead, that's like, can you
Yeah.
not?
like Archie, they do that a lot.
Like
and it draws
Archie in
attention
Riverdale.
to it. And they
and
shouldn't
you're like,
because
oh,
it's
now
bad.
I'm looking at his like orange painted on Lego hair. But that's okay. Chris, do you have another story? Because the alligator story is done.
Okay, let me see. Okay, yeah, you've probably heard this one before, but
I've
this
had
is
a lot of stories.
Okay, well, you don't have to brag.
Yeah, well, I am bragging. Because basically my day job now involves sitting on a computer all day.
This is from Lad Bible. Marianne submitted this one. Brightly coloured bird thought to be exotic found to just be covered in curry.
Yes, I love this story.
Humans have been studying the world around us for centuries. However, that doesn't mean we've seen everything. Every year we discover new types of plants and animals, and it helps us get a better understanding of our planet. So you can imagine the surprise and excitement when people thought they'd stumbled across a new exotic phoenix-looking bird in the UK. It was found on the A41 motorway by some onlookers who called Tiggy Winkle's Wildlife Hospital. That's its
I'm
name.
sorry? Tiggy Winkles?
Tiggy Winkles.
It
Wildlife
sounds like
Hospital.
a Teletubby. That's
It really
Yeah.
does. It's Tinky Winky's Wildlife Hospital
that's a,
for
Tinky Winky
anthropomorphic vacuums.
carries the animals in his handbag to the hospital, and it's a
Then
very
they
cute
They
situation.
install LED screens on their stomachs.
Oh no!
Go live underground.
It's horrifying.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up. This bird is not okay.
Wow. I'm sorry, bird.
Well, after a quick inspection, it turns out the exotic bird was just a seagull that had apparently had a run-in with curry or turmeric.
Oh.
Yeah, it's nasty. Writing on their Facebook page, the Tiggy Winkles Wildlife Hospital. They keep running
I
it
just
over and over
can't
again.
listen to that name and take it
No.
seriously.
The Tinky Winky Wildlife Hospital said, "This is one of the strangest casualty circumstances we've seen in a while. When they called to say they'd picked up an orange bird, we had no idea what to expect, but we could never have guessed at this." He had somehow gotten himself covered in curry or turmeric. It was all over his feathers, preventing him from flying properly. We have
Oh,
no
no.
idea. I mean, it prevents me from walking or doing anything when I get myself covered all in curry or turmeric.
Well, that's
so I mean,
true.
I get it.
And by yourself, you mean your stomach.
Well, no, I meant my skin and all of my body.
Okay, well,
organs.
that's probably something that you shouldn't do. Rub
That's just
curry on
something I
your
do
skin.
something I do in my private time.
Okay,
It's,
well, look, it's not something you need to share with the listeners, I think, the curry
I'm sorry. I just
fetish.
thought we had a pretty open-minded audience, and they wouldn't judge me for how I like to get my rocks off, which is
Chris,
to cover
were
myself
you-
head to
were
toe
you-
in curry. Curry
Did
paste,
you-
obviously, not just like I don't cook the curry. That would be unsafe. I just
Did
sort
you
of
do
wipe
this
the paste.
before or after the seagull did it?
Look, I'm not going to say that I was the one who covered this seagull in curry paste as a form of sexual thrill.
No,
but
because
I'm
that
just
would
saying
be
that
that
it
would
could
be quite that
That
would
wouldn't
be
be-
not ideal.
That wouldn't be cool, but I'm just saying that we shouldn't discount anyone's
Sure.
what anyone's hobbies are,
No,
especially
no.
if they're rubbing curry paste on your
As
naked belly.
the people of Tumblr would say, no yucking people's yums. So
Exactly.
let's
And-
leave it there, and I'd like to hear more about this curry bird.
He's now looking much better because they gave him a bath and washed all of the curry off. Apparently he smelt very bad.
I would imagine so.
The hospital realise that they've named him Vinny after the Vindaloo curry.
Okay.
And it just looks... There's not much more to it, but it looks very, very angry, this bird. Which...
I did like the photo of the curry bird, and I thought it looked like a very impressive bird.
Right?
I feel like they should have left...
improvement.
I feel like they should have left the curry on the seagull and then sold tickets to see a real-life phoenix before they washed the curry off.
I would like to see seagulls died... Because it's only just... We've only really just realised that you can dye seagulls. Like, previously people have dyed doves, but you can dye seagulls anything.
People die.
Yeah,
doves.
exactly.
So they do.
At weddings,
Yeah,
I
it's fucked up.
suppose. Or like gender
so-
reveal parties. That could be another way to...
That's very true. Okay, so you have two big buckets. One of them's full of, like, blue food colouring water, and one of them's full of strawberry jam. And whichever one the seagulls fly out of, which is spoilers, it'll be the jam, is the gender of the child.
Wow. Hashtag straight culture.
Well, that's the thing, is you can... Because doves, you have to just use dye. But with a seagull, you just need food, because they'll attack the food.
They
and
will go in for the food.
They'll go inside the food. So if you make, like... If
Whichever
you want,
bucket has, like, the chips in it is the one that they'll be diving into.
Yeah, so if you just do, like, a vat of cheese, the seagull will come out dyed yellow.
Yeah,
Or
sure.
jam for strawberry jam for red, obviously.
Now, this
I
one...
can't-
I'm just, like, being clear, right? The seagull story was in the UK.
Yes.
You know how they have, like, a weird thing where they have curry and chips? Do you think there was, like, chips near that curry that enticed the seagull to go into the curry to retrieve the chip?
I think, here's what I think happened, and this is, I'm going to give you the action replay. So there's someone standing on what the English would call a beach, but I would call a rocky ocean side.
Yeah,
And
sure.
they're eating their curry, they've got their curry in one hand and their chips in the other. The seagull comes down, steals one of the chips, and in a moment of rage, someone threw the curry at the seagull as it flew away, and they got a fucking headshot and nailed it. And it was just covered in
It was
this
just like
curry
a
grenade.
vat of curry, though. It has to be like a
Yeah.
big size curry. This guy was a hungry boy who's eating the chips down on the seaside.
He just had like a takeaway container of liquid curry that he was dipping the chips into and eating.
That
those.
sounds like British cuisine. That's exactly what British cuisine is.
That's what the English do.
That's what the people who colonised this, well, your nation and
This
my
terrible
nation.
place.
Yeah. I was going to say this nation, but I'm like, I'm not right there right this moment, so that's a little bit confusing.
No. Do you have another story? We've got time for one more.
Well, actually, this is a story that you've definitely read, Chris. But I feel like while we're on the topic of birds, we should give a shout out to our hero of the week, who is the cockatoo that was ripping out the anti-bird spikes in Katoomba.
Oh, yes, I love this MacGyver cockatoo. He's wonderful.
This cockatoo is an activist, right? He
Yes.
is like standing up for the little guy and out there ripping up anti-bird spikes so all the birds can occupy the ledge as they deserve to. This episode is basically like animal liberation episode, right? We're all about like those animals taking back their space.
On a totally unrelated note, I'm really excited to announce our new sponsor is Greenpeace, and they haven't
Not
given
Peter,
us any.
we're a little...
No, I don't want to be sponsored by
I don't want
Peter.
to be sponsored by Peter either, I'll be honest.
Greenpeace is cooler than Peter.
Yeah, Greenpeace is quite cool. Except for the fact that, like, the co-founder of Greenpeace is now, like, a weird anti-climate change activist.
Oh yeah, shit.
Do you
is
know-
there
he
another
was-
environmentalist?
He was the guy, the co-Greenpeace founder was the guy who, on, like, a French news program said that, like, Roundup was safe to drink or something like that.
Oh,
And
I
that-
remember that.
Do you remember that?
And then
he's
they
like,
were like,
I'll
"Are you
drink
gonna
it.
drink it
I'll
now?"
drink
And
a
he's
cup
like,
of it right now. And
"I
he's like,
won't
okay,
drink."
well, here's some for you.
And then he refused, and he said, "Because I'm not stupid."
Yes. This is my favourite thing in the world. Just like
That's
straight up, you know, if someone says it's safe to drink, have a cup of it. It's like, okay, well, I can get you some right now.
Sure,
Instantly
please.
disarming their argument.
Please tell
Back
me
to-
about the genius cockatoo.
Well, you know about the cockatoo, but let's
I know,
get
but I
into the
don't
story
think Sophie
anyway.
does. So
I do not know
Sophie,
about
do you
the
not have
cockatoo.
you not heard about this cockatoo, this hero, activist hero?
No, I have not.
Sophie doesn't read the news ever.
This is true.
Okay, well, this is a new story for you, Sophie. So this is, I'm reading from The Guardian, from Josh Taylor, just because it starts with a pun, and it's a really bad pun. It says, chick flick, Cockatoo gives anti-nesting spikes the bird in viral video. So there's 2 puns there for you.
That's a really
Thanks,
dense
Josh.
headline in terms of excellent comedy.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got to say, I follow Josh on Twitter, and he's usually better than that. So,
I like following Josh on Twitter. He's a good guy. But I don't know if he wrote this or if the editor did. The editor probably did that, but I'm going to blame Josh exclusively for this.
I'll just say that if The Guardian had hired me one of the 2 times that I've applied to work at The Guardian, I wouldn't have let that through. So
You wouldn't have let that slide, no.
They can just take from
Would
that
you
what
have
they
had
want.
the authority to choose that?
Absolutely, Sophie. I would have risen in the ranks so fast. I'd be the chief editor of The Guardian by now.
You'd be like the managing editor.
Yeah, they just have to let me through the
CEO
door
of
so
The Guardian.
I can do a coup d'etat of the newspaper.
Yeah.
Exactly, and then you're swapping it all out for exclusively cockatoo-based content.
Oh, 100%. I'm getting
Because
rid
this-
of all
this
of
story-
the politics and just putting in birds.
This particular version of the story, and there's a lot of versions of this story, this particular version has 10,000 shares, which is probably more shares than The Guardian usually gets, I would imagine.
I think that's needlessly disparaging to The Guardian. They're a
I
great
love The
paper,
Guardian, but let's have a look. What's the most viewed story at the moment? How many shares does this have? It doesn't. 1,600. And that's
Okay,
about
that
Facebook and Cambridge Analytica compared
that
to
is considerably
10,000.
less than the cockatoo
That's
story.
shares.
Okay.
Not even like, it's a pretty big story, the Cambridge one. And that's the day after this bird one. So, anyway, let's get into the story. So basically, the story is about this video that was put up on Facebook, which showed a cockatoo enthusiastically tearing out anti-bird spikes off the ledge of a building in Katoomba. That's the explanation of the video. And then the video pans down and you can see all the other anti-bird spikes that the cockatoo has torn off previously just along the sidewalk. So this is
great.
what the story says. Footage capturing a rebellious sulphur-crested cockatoo's triumph over bird guard spikes has gone viral on Facebook. The video posted on the social network titled Fuck the Police by Isaac Sharing Tito shows the cockatoo perched high on a ledge above the street, slowly pulling away and ripping off the spikes installed to prevent birds like the cockatoo from perching on the ledge. The camera pans down to reveal that the cockatoo has been ripping off spikes for the entire length of the ledge. The video was shared on Monday and had more than 17,000 shares and close to 3,000 comments at the time of reporting.
I'm very into this idea of animal activists just like taking back
Absolutely.
the streets from us filthy. Like, I want a dog to go around and just like scratch like a tag into people's like front doors.
Yeah, exactly. Just taking back the streets, making it their own. Reclaiming the spaces. Crocodiles basking on roofs.
I want birds
that
to
kind of
start
stuff.
tactically shitting on people. Like, just really choosing
I think they
their
do
targets.
that anyway.
No, I think at the moment, Sophie, birds have like an anarchic, just shit on anyone who's below
Yeah,
them. sort of
exactly.
attitude.
What
But
I'd
I want
like
them
to
pick
see
targets and follow them.
is the birds are hanging out in like, the big banking areas or outside Australian Parliament, just like shitting at the right moment when the right person walks through.
Yeah.
Making a statement. None of the anarchy's fun, but it's not making any kind of statement, There's no cohesive message to send.
This current generation of birds are just so nihilistic, and they're just not like the birds were back in the good old days.
Yeah,
And
exactly. But I think
want-
this bird is bringing back old school activism, A lot of cockatoos just fuck everything up and just rip out flowers and, like, tear down monuments just because they want to.
This cockatoo's
this-
going to start like chaining itself to ledges and gutters to make sure like, this is our space. You can't take
Yeah, this
from us.
cockatoo has noticed, like, the trend of, what's the word?
Hostile architecture?
Hostile architecture. The bird's noticed that, and he's like, I'm reclaiming this space for us birds. And now all the birds are going to sit on that ledge and enjoy themselves, thanks to this bird. So he's sending a real message.
There's a lot of like different hostile architecture things that you can apply to animals. Like if you did like for example for dogs, it's hostile architecture if the ground is too hard for them to dig up, because that's just what a dog needs to do.
It's just what he's inclined to do, sure.
Exactly.
And it's hostile architecture for cats if there isn't laser pointers at all times running around everywhere.
I'll see.
for them
I was
to
thinking
chase.
that because cats love to sort of just jump on top of posts. I was thinking if you make the top of the post all slippery, that's like hostile architecture for a cat.
Okay, sure.
Just put some butter up on there.
But maybe that'd be good because the cats like licking butter.
That's true. So that becomes a challenge for the cat to get up there.
Yeah,
and
to
get
get
at the
up
butter.
there and lick the butter. When I used to live with a cat, I used to make toast, put the butter on, put the Vegemite on, turn around to like make a cup of tea or something, and I'd turn back around, the cat would be on the table, licking all the butter and Vegemite off my toast, so I was left with a plain slice again.
Our family's cat, I think if you presented it with Vegemite, it would be like, ew, no, this is not good enough. I demand.
Yeah, I
to be
don't think he
chewed."
would be interested.
Cats love Vegemite, I swear. Because it's so salty, and they just love it.
Our cat just likes rabbits.
He
Now-
meat, and that's about
Sophie
it.
and the cat have the same diet. It's weird.
I want you to try and feed your cat Vegemite and see if it likes it, because I swear it probably will.
I don't think our
He's-
parents
he-
will ever forgive us if we do that.
Yeah. We would make Vegemite toast most mornings though, and he was never interested in
No.
it.
Well, just
Maybe
put the
it's 'cause
cat on the
he's never
table and
experienced it,
shove his face into the Vegemite, so he's got no choice but to lick up that good
That
shit.
does sound a little bit like animal cruelty. Alice.
It does sound quite cruel. But it's good. It's cruel to be kind, right? Because he's going to enjoy savour the taste of the delicious black stuff, the good tar that you put on
good
your
tar.
toast here in Australia.
Oh, how we love the good tar. I love giving
The good
people...
tar.
I love giving people who are from countries that like sweeter things the good tar and just seeing how they react to it. Because they always eat it wrong.
You see them prepared like the Vegemite toast, and it's got like a really thick, like Nutella style layer of Vegemite
Yeah,
on
they've
there.
got
And
a Nutella level layer of tar, and you need to only put like a little sliver of tar. Make
Yeah,
sure to
and-
get the
exactly.
little rocks out of your tar, really flatten
Yeah,
it, leave it out in the
exactly.
sun. Make sure it hardens before you eat it.
But you want to say something, but at the same time, you kind of want to see how they're going to react to that.
That's
you want them
true,
to
'cause
learn. It's like you want the kids to learn the lesson by putting their hand on the flame to learn that fire's hot. You know, you got to have the people who
Alison,
aren't
I
from
don't
Australia.
know if you should... just based on that alone, I don't think you'd be a great parent.
Well, if my Sims are anything to go by, they're great parents, you know, generally. Generally speaking.
You've had a lot of Sims, but there's been some casualties along the way.
Everyone's
you
had
should-
casualties on the
I don't
Sims.
think the kids die, though. I think the kids get taken away by, like, child services on The Sims.
That is
Do you
true.
play The Sims, Sophie? Can you attest to that?
I do play The Sims, yes.
Do the kids die, or do they get taken away by social services?
I
I usually stop playing when my Sims have a kid because it becomes boring.
Yeah, I agree. They can
And I think
definitely be
that's
taken
generally
away.
life, right? They get taken away.
Yeah, they can be, but they might be able to die as well. Maybe if they get like electrocuted or
Well,
something.
we're going to
I don't
experiment
know.
later, I suppose.
Yeah.
I've got my
You guys-
computer that...
You guys can team up and try to kill a kid. Yay.
That's grim. That's grim. But, you know, in Zoo Tycoon, the kids couldn't die, which was really quite annoying because my tactic whenever I was trying to get like 100% zoo happiness rating was to put a Tyrannosaurus Rex in the zoo because they're the only ones that can actually eat the people. The other animals only attack them, and that makes them unhappy. But when
So
they're
if you
dead...
eat the sad people, they can't make the happiness rating.
Exactly. When you 100% of guests to be happy, you find the unhappy guests, and then
You
you
eat
feed them to the T-Rex, and then the zoo is 100% happy guests. But when the
smart
kids
tactic.
are unhappy, they can't be eaten by the T-Rex. So you have to come up with a strategy to actually satisfy their like needs, which is very annoying.
That's like how anyone who leaves a negative review of this podcast, I hunt them down and kill them. Because
Yeah,
like,
well,
that
exactly.
way only got
Exactly.
positive reviews. Yeah. That's effective.
Yeah, it is quite effective. But I'm going to
should-
finish off this story quickly.
Okay.
So, because a lot of people that aren't from Australia don't understand what cockatoos are like and why they are like as they are. But the Guardian has kindly explained it to us from Sean Dooley, the editor of Australian BirdLife magazine. He said that cockatoos seem to take great enjoyment out of doing damage, whether it is random vandalism or more strategic damage. They do seem to take great delight in it, he said. It's pretty evident that cockatoos in particular are very intelligent birds and have, within their social structure, have to us what looks like playing. Because they feed on seeds and easily obtainable, highly nutritious food, Dooley said cockatoos have a lot of time on their hands to play. And I suppose in this case, fuck shit up and take down the system. So, good on you, cockatoos. Keep up the activism. Maybe stop the vandalism. Unless it's got a purpose.
I think we should all aspire to be more like a cockatoo.
Yeah.
Very
Action.
colourful.
They are very colourful.
They
that is
are
true.
quite. Well, they've got two colours.
Well, yeah, bright.
Which is
colours.
more than a lot of birds, I suppose. More than crows.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's finish the podcast.
Let's end here.
Thank
Animal
you, everyone.
activism.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. Make sure to everyone be more like cockatoos and to make sure to make your friends all eat the good tar.
Feed your friends the good tar.
Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Red Menace Cast or Facebook at the Red Menace Podcast. You can find our sick merch at tpublic.com. Just search the Red Menace Podcast and give us money, please. Please do it.
Yeah.
And tell your friends to listen to the show. Tell your friends just how amazing we are. And if you leave a negative review on Facebook or the Apple Podcasts app, I will hunt you down and kill you.
Sure.
Sophie,
I won't be involved in the killing, but
No, Alison
I'm in a
is
different country right now.
plausible
Unless you're...
deniability.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have anything you want to plug, Sophie?
No.
Fair enough.
No Twitter, no Instagram. You know,
wanna
it's your
become more
big
famous?
chance to become famous.
Well, they're both just at Sophie Bohlsen.
And it's going to be a fun game for everyone listening to figure out how to spell Bohlsen.
Yeah, it's so challenge.
That's part of the fun.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Good luck and good night.